Hey folks, it's Maxie here and welcome to another TEW2020 video. You join us today for two shows in the latter half of June, which will take us on to our pay-per-view, which will of course be Blood and Guts. It's been okay so far. We've had some shows that have lost popularity, we've had some shows that have gained popularity, but I feel like since we've come back into booking in this phase, we've certainly started to gain momentum in the storylines that we're producing, and hopefully, as I say, we'll get the big payoff at Blood and Guts, and then so on and so forth from there. Good show tonight, 18 segments on the show. We have a lot of dark matches as well, and then of course following that we'll have our second episode. So, without me blathering on too long, let's crack on. This is this week's AEW Dynamite. So this week's show is at the D Event Centre and we've got a sold out 11,500 in attendance. Just quickly run through the dark matches. We've got Austin Creed defeating Eli Dragunov in 12:06 with the TKO. 52 rated matchup. Still, of course, introducing Dragunov to the American audience, or the wider audience in this case. We debuted the star of the show, the entertainer that is Anna Jay, and she defeated Bea Priestley in 5:27 by pinfall. We keep Bea looking strong here, but I think we're going to go very similar to how Anna's been portrayed in real life. But we might go a bit longer with the star of the show gimmick to start with. But a 21 rated segment, which is brand new into the mod. Initial rating of great, long way to build her up, that's for sure. Next we had a pre-show match that had decent reaction from the crowd at Subpar Wrestling. Orange Cassidy defeats Stu Grayson in 9:39 with a super kick. 67 rating here, and that's with Stu Grayson off his game. A 75 performance plays a 53, so very respectable to former PWG guys putting on a show. Then another women's matchup. It was Deonna Purrazzo defeating Killer Kelly in 6:32 with a Fujiwara armbar. 32. Just again getting as many of them over as possible, utilising matches against each other to develop their skill set. And then we had Terrible Wrestling, a non-existent crowd heat, with the Hybrid 2, Angelico and Jack Evans defeat the Best Friends, Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta, when Angelico defeated Chuck Taylor with a Superman senton. 55, not too bad, mid-card acts in game, so makes perfect sense. We also had Toni Storm defeat Leva Bates in 5:59 with strong 0. 51 overall, Leva still portraying the Liberian gimmick in the game, and Toni with an impressive victory. So now we start the actual episode of Dynamite, so a lot of stuff to take care of there on Dark. We have a promo here, and it is the Inner Circle, the leaders Sammy Guevara, Jake Hager, and of course Santana and Ortiz. And in this promo, Jake obviously just looking dead intimidating in the background, and Sammy is basically just being very arrogant and just saying they never needed Chris Jericho. If anything, he was holding them back. All he did was provide them with more eyes on them, but in terms of carrying the load, it was mostly the Inner Circle. Going forward, as I say, they are the most powerful faction in AEW, and it's going to take great pleasure in just dismantling Chris Jericho whenever that time may be. So a 72 rated segment. They're also getting annoyed with the likes of QT Marshall and Dustin Rhodes getting involved in their business. And that match up next is between Sammy Guevara and QT Marshall. Sammy Guevara does pick up the win in 9:30 with a 6:30 splash. 70 rated matchups, very good, great chemistry between both of them. Sammy comes out looking $1,000,000, so he gets a bit of a win over QT. After the matchup, he tries to beat QT Marshall down, but it's Cody who comes down to make the save in a 78 rated segment. He chases off Sammy Guevara. Cody's performance was fantastic. Sammy Guevara was good. QT Marshall looking very lost out there, but again, hopefully this could be something that introduces him to the audience in game. And Cody then cuts a promo. Unfortunately, it's a 79 rated promo, and he confirms that with the powers that he's got, and of course he's spoken to the matchmaker Mick Foley, spoken to Tony Khan, and it is going to be the main event at Blood and Guts, that War Games style matchup, the Blood and Guts match. It's going to be the Inner Circle, Sammy Guevara, Jake Hager, Santana and Ortiz, and they're going to take on Chris Jericho, QT Marshall, Dustin Rhodes, and the American Nightmare Cody in a 4-on-4 match within that structure. So looking forward to that one. Should be a blast. Moving along, we had the Machine Brian Cage defeat Brandon Cutler in 6:37 with a flying elbow drop. It's a 53 rated matchup. Again, just making Brian Cage look $1,000,000. A 73 performance from him and a 23 from Cutler. And after it just says, week after week I've just dismantled opponents. And at Blood and Guts, Claudio Castagnoli, I'm coming after your TNT Championship. So you better get ready, because I'm just going to throw you about like the rest of these losers. That was a 68 rated promo. Hype video for Abaddon. Obviously need to introduce her to the audience, obviously displaying how strange and weird and mythical she is. But anyway, a 17 rated segment for her. Moving along, we had a Women's Championship match, and again showing the dominance of Shayna Baszler in a terrible matchup. Shayna defeats Tenille Dashwood in 4:39 with an armbar, and she makes the third defence of the women's title, so she's going to throw everybody in the division. And a 52 rated matchup. It's probably the best one so far, but of course likes of Harn, Toni Storm, Nikki Cross are a wee bit far ahead than the rest of the division. It's as if we've got like a main pool and then everyone else that's trying to get into that. Then at the hype video for soon to return from injury, Superbad Kip Sabian, and we just see him backstage playing some games. Pretty much it. There's a long term effect to this idea and storyline, but he's playing games, and that's a 21 rated segment. We then had a decent matchup. We saw Brody Lee defeat Scorpio Sky in 10:39 with the running big boot. Both guys with actual good performances there. But Matt Striker as the road agent was not great, so I'll need to look at that after the show and get Matt Striker off of those duties and just commentary. But a 66 rated matchup's pretty decent considering, and it gives the Dark Order some momentum going forward. And before they can even do anything, Kenny Omega wants his revenge on Brody Lee, and Brody and the Dark Order just basically go as Kenny runs in their chair. They want nothing to do with him. So they dart to the back, and that is a 80 rated segment there. Moving along, we had a matchup that had a decent reaction from the crowd and some subpar wrestling as Kenta continues to defeat the Hangman Posse. After going through the Butcher, the Blade, he now goes through Shawn Spears in 9:44 with a GTS. 66 rated performance, a 71 from Kenta and a 52 from Shawn Spears. And Kenta says basically he has defeated every one of those members. The only man he's yet to slay is Hangman, and that's going to be at Blood and Guts, and he is going to take that AEW World Championship. So a 57 rated segment for Kenta. Then of Pac, who's going to come down to do colour commentary for the AJ Styles match that's coming up, and that is a 70 rated segment for that. And it was about that had a decent reaction from the crowd, but subpar wrestling as the phenomenal AJ Styles defeats Joey Janela in 10:03 with the spiral tap. Been a while since he's used that, but a 67 here. Styles with 71, Joey with 55, so that's not too bad. I think considering the decline of AJ, that was pretty good. But yeah, just giving AJ some more momentum going forward. And after this, Mick Foley basically goes up to the top of the ramp and he says, Blood and Guts, come on guys, it's official. AJ Styles versus Pac, let's keep bringing the fans these AEW dream matches. So that's a 74. And our main event of the evening was a superb wrestling match, good heat, and we had Jon Moxley defeat Rey Fenix in 17:36 with the Death Rider. So this would have been even better than 80, but the lack of psychology, the ever-recurring theme in many a save. But we'll work on that. As I say, these are guys that are going to be near the top for a long time. Phoenix, when eventually the single push happens, will be up there. But it gives me that solid main event matchup. I'll have a solid promo, so we should be looking at about a 78, 79 here. But obviously keeping Moxley's momentum going. And we end the show with MJF saying, obviously we'd have loved to have been involved in any sort of matchup with Moxley, but after last week, he's not medically cleared. I forgot he had an injury basically. I was going to do a tag main event, but that got swiftly changed. But MJF will be back at the end of the week, so he'll be ready to compete at Blood and Guts. And it just says once the doctors give him the all clear, he's getting rid of Jon Moxley from AEW and back to making this the MJF show. Overall, a 79, so that was a good prediction, and we increase our popularity in 15 regions. I think it's just the US and Canada. I think we lost the UK deal, but we need to focus on our home nation in game first, and then we can look further afield once we've got the money to invest in some sort of AEW network. So that's show 1. Let's kick on and get show number 2 on the road. So here we are for episode number 2, our go home show towards Blood and Guts. We're in Idaho, we're at the Holt Arena, and we've had 10,480 fans in attendance. Quite a special episode of Dark. Well, even though it's not technically dark, you know what I mean, pre-show matches, I'm classifying it as dark. All women's card, to let you see the depth we've got in the women's division as we try and get them better. And straight off the bat, I've already forgotten to take Matt Striker off of duties of doing road agent work. But anyway, we'll run through it as quickly as we can. We'll get Big Swole with a win over B. Priestley. It was a 32. We had Lexi defeat Yuka Sakazaki in 7:33 by a Twisted Bliss. That was a 49 due to them not clicking and making it a awkward bout. We had Abaddon defeat Kylie Ray in 8:33 by pinfall, 37. Pretty decent. Matt Striker again causes poor matchup here between Maya Iwatani and Killer Kelly. Mayu picking up the win in 7:55 with a Dragon Suplex. That drew a 38. We then had Anna G in action. She defeated Leva Bates in 8:13 by pinfall. That was a 35. Good win for the star of the show. And we had 2 from New Jersey, I believe. Possibly. I need to double check that fact. But anyway, Chris Statlander and Dino Peruzzo defeating Jamie Hayter and Brandy in 8:51 when Chris Statlander pinned Jamie Hayter. Boop. 47 and Brandy head and shoulders above the rest because of her overness. So on to the actual show of Dynamite itself, and MJF just cuts a promo on Moxley. He says he's back, he's ready for this Saturday night, and he's going to just get rid of Jon Moxley and just show the world that, you know, he should be AEW champion. If it wasn't for a prior injury at the start of the year, he would be champion already. And he just wants Jon Moxley out of his life. So that's an 80 promo. We then have him in action just to kind of shake off any ring rust, and it was about that didn't have much heat and terrible wrestling as MJF and Wardlow defeated Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela in 9:07 when MJF pinned Sonny Kiss with a Swanton Bomb. MJF head and shoulders above the rest. Sonny Kiss was the weak link. Sonny was also off for game, but 65, pretty respectable there. Good spotlight for Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela, and Wardlow as well. But obviously MJF gets a W before he heads to Blood and Guts. After the matchup, Jon Moxley tries to get a cheap shot on MJF, but Wardlow manages to step in and he puts Jon Moxley through a table. Best segment of the night in 85, so that puts a lot less pressure on our main event. But the 85 probably is mostly down to Jon Moxley, but good exposure for Wardlow, who didn't come out of this looking good. Another hype package for Abaddon, getting her over on the main show. And then we've got a promo with Pac. And he just says this Saturday he's just going to show the world that AJ Styles might be phenomenal, but Pac is a completely different level. They never cross paths elsewhere in that other company, just a timing thing. But he's about to show the world just how damn good he is, and that AJ Styles, just he's got his work cut out, you know what I mean? He thinks he's good, but he's never experienced this level of athlete. That's an 84. It was a decent matchup that saw AJ defeat Miro in at 7:24 by a quick roll up. A 69 rated matchup. Miro's on a slump, not really going well for the big man, and he takes another L here, losing to AJ Styles, gaining Styles some momentum going into the clash with Pac. And after another tantrum, he just freaks out, starts throwing stuff about. He's really not happy with how things are going in AEW. Then I have a hype package for Kip Sabian, just again getting him ready to come back from injury, promoting the fact that he's having a great time on Twitch during this, and that he's ready to show the world just how good he is when he comes back. So it's just him playing video games, and everybody gets, you know, to enjoy him playing like COD or something. I don't know, whatever he plays. Next up in the TNT division, Claudio Castagnoli defeated Eli Dragunov in 7:56 with a neutralizer. Disappointing this only made a 53, but I feel like the more you put Dragunov in this kind of spotlight with these guys that are really, really good, it's only going to get him more over. He's really good, but you need to get him more over in this. So I feel good match up there with Claudio. Claudio has the momentum going into Blood and Guts. And yeah, looking forward to it. Try to go a wee bit different here for your main event. No, co-main event. I think the Blood and Guts match will main event. But I basically had both of the competitors for the AEW World Championship having training montages. I felt it's a good way to put them on the show without a confrontation. Just basically Hangman doing some training with the Butcher, the Blade, and of course Shawn Spears as he looks to defend his AEW title against Kenta. So that was an 80-rated segment. Then we had 6 women action. It was an abysmal matchup that saw the team of Heidi Lovelace, Hikaru Shida and Toni Storm defeat the Blontourage, Ashley Lane, Ali and Penelope Ford, of course the tag team champions, in 8:39 when Toni Storm pinned Penelope Ford with a strong 0. At 53 overall, Heidi Lovelace was off her game with one of the weaker performances here, but it's kind of like a mixed match there. You've got the good performances from Ashley Lane, Ali and Toni Storm, and then the rest are kind of like a wee bit low in terms of maybe exposures, maybe not best for them. And then obviously Penelope down the bottom, but she'll be a massive work in progress and hopefully someone we can develop. But 53, still fairly decent, all things considered. And after the matchup, Shayna decides she wants to take her frustration of not being booked tonight out on Toni Storm for the winner's column, and returning after being beaten down by Shayna Baszler, Nikki Storm comes in and she chases Shayna Baszler off. So a bit of a reprieve there for Toni, getting saved there, but Shayna just being as dominant as ever, and Nikki showing that she may have been beaten but she won't give up. She's crazy. Next up, we've got the Young Bucks down to do colour commentary to watch the Hybrid 2, so that's a 67 rated segment, and it was the Motorcycle Machine Guns against the Hybrid 2, with the Hybrid 2 picking up the win in 9:50 when Angelico pinned Chris Sabin with a Superman senton. Just again building up Hybrid 2, giving us another challenger to the Young Bucks in that match. I'm looking forward to see how they deliver on pay-per-view. Then of the same montage for Kenta, not quite as over as you can see, a 55, just shows him basically training in the gym, getting ready for that World Championship match that he earned. Next up we had Kenny Omega take on John Silver. It was a win in 8:44 for Kenny, of course, with the one-winged angel, so another defeat for a member of the Dark Order. A 64 though, because of Kenny's 82, Silver just with 26. I think we just need to get him over, but slowly but surely we'll give the Dark Order more segments and we'll allow the likes of Silver, Reynolds, etc. to let their characters shine through. But Kenny looks brilliant, and after the matchup, Brody Lee, well, he wants to attack Kenny Omega, he's stopped in his tracks by Mick Foley. Mick Foley says, if you want to take on Kenny Omega, we know how personal this is getting between him, you and the Dark Order. We don't want any responsibility for this matchup, so if you want to make it, no DQ, no rules, etc., you can, but you've got to sign this contract. So Mick Foley makes Brody Lee sign it, and that gets the segment reign of an 86. So delighted with that. And their main event, well, we've actually had a very good show here. A partnership I thought would work, but has worked even better than I expected. A good matchup saw the team of Cody and Chris Jericho defeat Santana and Ortiz, proud and powerful, in 14:45 when Cody pinned Ortiz with the Crossroads. In terms of in-ring work, Cody was held and shoulders above the rest, and 85, that's really good for AEW at the moment, until we get to where we want to be. 94 from Cody, super over in this save. So absolutely delighted. I feel frustrated in a sense. I want to make proud and powerful champions at one point, but they're always just, they're so good that they could mingle with the main event guys, but obviously they can't go over them. So they're in that weird position where they're like, I wouldn't even say jobbers to the stars, because they do get victories every so often, but I know I can trust them to put on great matches with the top stars. Anyway, finish the show. It's just a 72, but it's basically leading up to the Blood and Guts match itself, the the War Game style match, and that is of course Team Jericho or Cody, so Jericho, Cody, QT and Dustin taking on the Inner Circle's Sammy Guevara, Hager, Santana and Ortiz, and a massive brawl to the back. So that drew a 72. Overall we increased our popularity in 32 regions. That is an 84 rated show. That might be one of our better ones, but really delighted with that. Some strong angles, a very good main event, and if we can keep going like that, we'll be hot on the heels of that company from New York. So I'll leave it there because I don't want to jump into the main screen in case we have some potential signings round. But just let you know what's coming up on the next episode, of course, is Blood and Guts. We're going to have the TNT Championship on the line as Claudio Castagnoli defends against Brian Cage. Kenny Omega takes on Brody Lee in a non-sanctioned match, no DQ match will make it. We're going to see Jon Moxley take on Maxwell Jacob Friedman, and we're also going to see the AEW Tag Team Championships on the line as we have the Young Bucks defending against the Hybrid 2. The AEW World title on the line, which will be Hangman Page versus Kenta. We'll also have the phenomenal AJ Styles taking on Pac. And of course that big main event matchup, Sammy Guevara, Jake Hager, Santana and Ortiz, the Inner Circle, and they'll take on the team of QT Marshall, Dustin Rhodes, Cody and Chris Jericho. Also, we'll look to call him Cody Rhodes going forward since that's now official, and has been for a few weeks at the time of recording. But cheers for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm really enjoying getting back into booking this again. It may not do massive numbers on YouTube, but the main thing is, as long as you enjoy the content you're making, that's the main thing. And if people want to enjoy the ride, it's very much appreciated. So take it easy, enjoy the rest of your day, and hopefully I'll see you for that pay-per-view coming up next week. Bye bye.